Hello there everyone and welcome back. I am Ben the Bull, you are still you, and let us go ahead and keep playing our Hannibal at the Gates campaign where we are going to try to take Carthage and turn it into a monster, which, I mean, it already is a monster. We're going to try to, take over North Africa, take over Iberia, and hopefully have to deal with a late game, very strong, very powerful Rome. Yes, I'm hoping to sack Rome right before time expires in the campaign. We will see how it goes. Rome seems to be doing a decent job expanding at the moment. I did just want to see how... I didn't record this or anything, but I did just want to see how the new AI, especially the new Rome AI, would use the mission system to expand. So while I, ran some errands earlier in the day, I went ahead and just left the game running at speed 5 on observer mode just to see what would happen with Rome. And kind of what you expected to happen with Carthage happened. It expanded, it took over all of North Africa except for, this country had actually, this little tribal vassal had actually conquered a bunch of this territory. It was like, instead, in one of the earlier episodes, I conquered that little tribal vassal that I had through whatever mission that was right at the start of the Mutiny of the Berbers. Well, it was honestly like this country expanded. But besides that, Carthage did what you would expect. It took over a bunch of Iberia. It took over most of North Africa. Phrygia and the Seleucid Empire, they both crumbled relatively quickly. Rome, though, did something interesting. It took over all of Italy. It took over this little... It took over, Syracuse, but actually left the actual nation of Syracuse intact, but actually just took the little kind of tip of Sicily here. Rome then seemed to bypass Gaul completely. It took over a bunch of Egypt, and it actually took over all of the southern coast of Phrygia, as well as the northern coast, kind of in the Pontus Armenian area. So Rome actually had expanded into Armenia, but then in between it was Ionia, this big, toothpaste blue country. So it didn't necessarily expand quite in the way that I would hope, which would be very much, into Gaul, taking over the entire region. But it did do a decent job. Rome was very powerful. I do think that that was probably the strongest Rome I've seen. I plan on running another observer mode, just kind of in my spare time when I know I can't be here to watch or to play, because after all, I enjoy playing more than just watching in observer mode. But I do want to run it a few more times just to kind of see where it gets. See what the new AI following the missions can do. So with that said, let us keep going and following the missions. We had some things that we were trying to do, didn't we? First of all, we have the integrate the Musalami people. We basically just owns at least one territory with city status and 15 or more pops in the areas of Thracia, Musalamia, or Maxesia, and I believe we were turning this into a city. Yeah, so it is actually working on becoming a city. So when that happens, we should be able to hit the integrate Musalami button. That will, it looks like, start a 365-day counter to complete. We also had some Republic issues that we wanted to sort out. Now, I've done a little bit of research about how to play as Republics. I'm pretty excited to kind of get that going. We can kind of see how the influence, the faction support, is grown by hovering over these numbers. We can increase that faction support through a variety of different ways, and so we will definitely want to kind of look into that and be cognizant of that as we go along. For instance, where is... So I wish it told you what their jobs were. But basically we have civic faction support. We can hover over it. We can see that it changes by plus 0.3 each month due to Himilco Barca. Now, what Himilco Barca is currently doing, where he is, he might be a governor. He might be in one of these offices. Does anyone see him here? No. Yeah, it's not the most transparent system, but I'm trying to learn a little bit more about it. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Let us go ahead and keep going. We also can see what percentage based of each faction will vote will support this secession. We can also say we wanted to come and, let's say, integrate these people. It turns out if I wanted to offer a guarantee, it turns out I can not only just hover over this and see that 69 seats are behind the guaranteeing of Utica, but also if I click on it, I get a much more detailed breakdown that shows me specifically, like, in detail, hey, why they will agree to this, and also what kind of loyalty changes will happen if I push this button, the offer guarantee button. So I'm still learning about how to work with the republics. It isn't necessarily the most intuitive system, but from everything I can gather, it's one of the more powerful ways to play the game. So I'm excited to dive into it with Carthage, which is arguably one of, if not the most powerful country in the game, especially starting out. Obviously Rome, you know, under the guise of a good player, or even a moderately decent AI, could claim that title. And of course, Maria is always going to be strong. In that Observer game that I did, the Marian Empire really didn't expand much more than it already is here, but it's just so strong at the beginning. Let's go ahead and unpause the game. We'll start letting that city continue to be built and think about where we want to go next. I could, of course, go ahead and, like, move an army to Sardinia and declare war for Sardinia. I honestly think there's a lot of merit to that. But I kind of want to just keep following the missions and see where the missions take me. So let's just keep working on that for now and not vary too much from the missions. Now, I know that one of the major concerns with the missions was that, hey, this is going to railroad the players. But in this specific playthrough, I'm kind of okay with being railroaded, especially if those railroads eventually take me to Rome. Don't worry, the name of the series is Hannibal at the Gates, so eventually I do plan on sacking Rome as Carthage. But I want to let Rome be sufficiently powerful first. And I would also love it if my route to Rome was through Iberia and Gaul rather than through Sicily. But we'll just have to see what we decide to do in the end. I think I'm going to go ahead and bring some of my navies a bit closer to home. I don't really love that they're just kind of out in these far-flung areas. I think I will put you in charge of the Navy. You're nice and loyal. Looks like he is the suffect of... Alright, so, yeah, sure, you can become my friend. Let's bring this Navy just a little bit closer to home. I'm thinking in Thracia. I also might want to go ahead and try to get rid of some of these pirate issues that I'm having. Let's see, how much money do I need for a new invention? I want to grab a new invention when I get the chance. Specifically, I want the import value invention. I think that that's going to be my best bet. I want as many inventions as possible, but I might have to prioritize with how the money situation is looking at the moment. Of course, that will hopefully change. I do have to be careful moving these fleets around because there are a lot of pirates out there in the waters. And I did decrease my fleet maintenance so that I could make a little bit more cash a little bit faster. Just need to be careful with all that. It looks like they're going to make it just fine, though. Alright, so I can go ahead and grab another invention. I'm going to go ahead and get standardized measures. I think that in the end that will help me make a little bit money a little bit faster. Speaking of making a little bit money a little bit faster, let's go ahead and accept some of these trade goods for food. We're looking good with food everywhere. Let's see. Yeah, now we're making 7.13, so already you can tell that our commerce value is much more important than our taxes. Interestingly enough, we have a national tax of minus 10% because of our co-suffates. Interesting. Why do you give us a national tax of minus 10% because of... Was that an event that I missed? Yeah, we'll give you fish. We'll give you fish. We'll give you fish. And we'll give you vegetables. We'll go ahead and just trade away the food for now. We can always bring it back into later time. Alright, Himmelco, the governor of Magna Graecia, we could have him lose 200 gold, basically in the midst of the fallow season. Himmelco Barca, one of our most esteemed governors. Oh, there he is. Himmelco Barca. Wasn't that someone I was looking for? Ah, so you, Maribal Girl Baldi, because of his oratory score, we get increased faction support. Okay. Alright, so you are in charge. Interesting. Alright. So then, when I come down to you, and because we have a co-suffate who is of the mercantile faction, we get additional mercantile faction support here as well. Alright. Makes a little bit more sense. And do these numbers correspond with the numbers? Yeah, they do. For instance, these numbers correspond with the numbers in the Senate. So the mercantile faction is my largest faction, followed by the religious faction. But the religious faction is currently the one in power, because my suffate, not my co-suffate, is... Alright. If I hit this button, I can get an additional 10 seats in the Senate. I thought that I got mercantile, or I thought I got faction support from just all sorts of characters being in, like, positions of power. Is that not how it goes anymore? Oh well. We'll figure it out. We'll play it out, see what happens. Alright, so we could have the shame of a governor. I don't really want to demand his resignation. He doesn't have the greatest statesmanship. I wish we knew... Like, he should be able to get higher statesmanship than 42% being a governor, you know? A character will gain more statesmanship based on current and prior positions in office. Characters with more statesmanship will be able to better perform their duties, enabling... So, it even says prior positions, so like if I put him in charge of something else, will he get the, like, an ex-governor statesmanship? Because it does say a character will gain more statesmanship based on current and prior positions in office. What's he really good at? Nothing. 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 3, 3. I might want to try that. Alright, so I could say demand a payment to the territory. Yeah, he can lose some loyalty. Let's look at my researchers. Who's, like, really good at something? Alright, so you have 27 statesmanship. You seem to be a decent marshal. Yes, you are. Alright, so he gets... It always decays by... Decays by negative 0.27 each month. So because... Alright, so if you are a researcher, you get a base increase of 0.25 per month. Alright, got it. And it decays by exactly 1% of whatever your statesmanship is. So now, if I were to move him from being a researcher to something else... So, to do that, do I have to fire him? Won't he lose some loyalty if I fire him? Or will I just be able to go here... What was his name again? Sorry. He was... Mrs. Massanissa Gasigo? Alright, sure. Now, show offices. Let's find... You. You're an important person, but can I put Massachusetts, whatever his name is, in charge? No, I can't. So I do have to fire him from his researcher job. Well, what if I just dismissed you and moved you to a researcher? So Mephihophoclid, sure, dismiss. That is going to outrage some families. Whatever. Let's go to technology. Can I put that dude in charge? I already forgot his name. Was this him? He's definitely of the Bedina class, or family, Bedona class family. Yeah, I believe this was him, right? I already forgot the guy's name. I didn't think it was Germelquart. I love the name Germelquart, or Germelcart. Or was it him? Yeah, alright, so I'll put him in charge. That should make you happier? No, it's the Giscoid family. Whoops. I made the Giscoid family angry. Oh well. And now can I hire... Oh, yeah, you're Gisco. So now if I hire you there, now let's go look at your statesmanship. So your loyalty actually is fine, so you didn't necessarily care that I fired you, which is good. And then here I get, it changes by 0.52 each month because he was the tribune of the soldiers. But it does not... So he does not gain extra statesmanship because he was at one point a researcher. Honestly, I think that's probably good, just because then you'd be wanting to like switch out your researchers all the time, or switch out people just all the time into bigger and better offices. But honestly, that would be fun. Like, you put them in minor offices at the beginning and then move them up the line. That would be a really cool way to play the game, you know? Characters with more... Alright, yeah, it does say a character will gain more statesmanship based on current and prior positions in office. But it does not appear that that is really the case. Because he's the tribune of the soldiers, he could eventually get up to 0.8% or 80% statesmanship, which is good. I mean, it's very good. Let's look at those offices again. Right now, he's not amazing, but he'll get better. You are pretty great. You have very high statesmanship. Why do you have such high statesmanship? Because you're a party leader, which helps. Okay. Alright, so there's some things that we still have to learn about statesmanship, I think. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Go ahead and accept some of these trade offers. Perfect. We're getting up there in political influence. Whenever we do, I'm probably going to go ahead and grab another import route. Import routes are pretty good after all. And that city should be almost done by now. Where are we? Yeah, that city is close to being done. In 10 days, it'll be finished. Yep, it's become a city, which means I can now come over here and say, integrate the Musalami. Perfect! So fun. So good. Alright. I'm also need to continue to integrate you people. I am integrating you... Oh, good. More pirates, of course. Not integrating you yet. But I can be, so let's go ahead and start that integration. So we should get done with those two missions today, both the A Tale of Four Cities as well as the Integrate the Musalami. Ooh, are you a different city? I'm integrating you. A Tale of Four Cities. Should just be those, right? Cool. We're getting there. I'm going to go ahead and hit the button to grab another trade route. Trade routes are, after all, very good. Let's also take a look. I think I actually want my citizen ratio a little bit higher, so I'm going to go ahead and build a library and also an academy just to help with the pop promotion speed. I'm also going to be looking to build a foundry again relatively soon, although right now I'm pretty much at my building capacity, which is fine. We're getting there. We're getting there. No reason to rush. We've played for about 12 years into the campaign. And yeah, I'm just trying to follow some of these missions. I don't necessarily want to go too rogue. Not yet, at least, which means right now the people in Sicily are relatively safe. Or not, yeah, on Sicily, yes, but I meant to say Sardinia there, whoops. We're gonna let our tyranny keep ticking down. Seems like we have a pretty heavy-handed control in the Senate. After all, we are the religious faction, and they do stand behind us on a lot of our... Or they stand behind us probably 100%, but I believe the mercantile faction, because of the co-suffate... Ooh, national tax rate. Yeah, I'll do national tax rate. I still... Maybe I just missed a... I don't know why our co-suffate is causing us minus 10 tax. That must have just been my fault. I must have, like... It must have been an event, right? Am I integrating the Uticans yet? Yes, I am. So I'm integrating probably a bunch of people. And we're getting closer with all of them. You're ticking up at 0.65 per month, 0.65 per month, 0.65 per month. Cool. We're getting there. I could make that faster by going into the domineering stance. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and increase my relations with you. Seems like everyone, 100% of people are behind me, improving the opinion with my little vassals down here. So I'll go ahead and do that. How we come in, the integrate the Musalami is almost done, which means through focused effort into expanding and improving the Musalamian bureaucracy, we have seen an increased interest in our civilization and traditions in the region. We've effectively turned the loose tribes of the Musalami into a proper client of Carthage. It is for the best Musalami becomes a client state of Carthage. It adopts an autocratic monarchy government form. This will allow us to, later on down the line, integrate them. I believe we have to keep them for the standard 10 years, right? Oh, maybe not. Cancel Tribune. Oh, so they're just a client state. Can we not? I thought we could integrate client states, but... I'm going to go ahead and take the popularity in all those integrations. So, are they just a tributary? Yeah, so we just received tribute from the Musalamins. They are not a client state. I thought it said that they would be a client state. And of course now we can't even see. Alright, well let's keep going down the line. Maybe there's something that will help us. Basically, we just need to keep integrating. We need to integrate Utica now. We are almost done with that, so the Wicked Sisters is almost completed. Let's go ahead and grab another invention. For this one, I'm thinking let's go ahead and get the ship damage taken. We want to have a strong navy after all. Speaking of, I might as well go ahead and appoint a admiral here. And let's go with Garibaldi. Oh, that's going to make some people mad. Ooh, it's going to make everyone mad. Everyone wants... Alright, so because we are a member of the Bedona family, we can just invite someone. Sure, we'll bring you into the fold. So that takes care of the Bedona family. We do need to find some people to hire in all these other families, though. Specifically the Hannibal family. Well, let's go look at what we got, shall we? We have some offices. Bedona, Barca, Garibaldi. So he is a minor character. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to toss out some of my minor characters, even though he's very loyal. His name is Philosir. Alright, so let's go ahead and put Tabnet. No, let's go with Yeah, Tabnet Barca in control. He is a member of the populist faction, which, if I'm not wrong, will mean... So he's the party leader and a friend of the head of the Barcan family. So he doesn't have a very high power base. I'm going to put... what's his statesmanship? Oops, didn't mean to click him. So he's very loyal. His statesmanship is very high, which, well, it's relatively high. It's going to keep getting higher. He could eventually tap his statesmanship out around 85%, right? So, I guess good for you there. We still have people who are scorned. Let's keep showing offices. Barca, Hannibal, Barca, Gisco, Garibalid, you're a minor character, which means unfortunately you probably have to go. Let's go ahead and put the Gisco man in charge. And unfortunately, we probably... Let's look at our governor situation. You're a minor character, so... Let's go find you on a map. Where are you? Over here, so way out here in Iberia. So, unfortunately, you probably also have to go, and I'm just gonna have to put a Hannibal in control. What does a governor get? So, oh my goodness, a governor, their statesmanship only increases by 0.35 per month? That's not very good. I feel like that would be one of the more important jobs. Although, I guess like back in the day, if you wanted to just kind of get rid of someone, you would send them out to be a governor at some far-flung part of the world, right? Alright, so we've settled down our families quite a bit. Made them a little less angry with us. And let's just keep looking at these missions. So we're almost done with the Wicked Sisters, I believe. Oh, that's a funny mission, or mission title. I guess the Wicked Sisters are these... Because at the start of the game, these two little territories were in their own country, and so were they. So it's like the two Wicked Sisters on the other sides of the bay. That's funny. We're gonna get commerce value up by 10% when that happens for 20 years. That's great. And here they are. Integration of Utica. Gonna go with the popular choice. We have some trade routes that we can use. Let's see. Leather's good because for each surplus in the province we get slave output by 2%. I believe we already have some leather, yeah, but slave output by 2% is nothing to wag your finger at. We already are getting decent wood. Each one we get local tax increase by 3%. I don't necessarily think we need to go with food quite yet, although with a surplus of livestock in the capital we get that pop promotion speed of 25%. Do I have livestock there yet? No, I don't, but I could probably bring more in later if I wanted to. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with leather just for now, just because if we get that surplus in the capital, well then our light infantry defense goes up, and well, we do have quite a bit of light infantry right now in our armies. Not necessarily because that's what I want to have, but just because that's how the game starts us out with a bunch of light infantry. I've built some supply wagons and some archers in that as well. Our military tradition, or our military experience rather, is ticking up nicely. Hopefully we'll be ready for some more of that relatively soon. Let's see what our next mission is. Oh, we gotta click the button for Wicked Sisters. There that goes. That means we get increased national commerce value. And yeah, now we're really cooking as far as how much money we're making from commerce. Confused about the Tabnet Barca populist faction support. Support for the populist faction changes by 0.95 each month. But we get that at the very bottom row. Tabinet Barca, his oratory +1, and then parentheses, the populace logo ×2. I don't know what that means. We'll have to see. Ooh, troubling developments. Recently we have seen that our Tribune of the Treasury, as well as those under his charge have been doing a disappointing job. It seems that people are having issues. We could call him a corrupt traitor. My character would lose 2 corruption. He would lose 20 loyalty. He's the Tribune of the Treasury. Or we could lose 97 gold. I would gain some corruption. He would gain a bunch of gold. There goes his loyalty. I don't want to lose the gold yet. And once again, more characters being integrated. Gonna go with those popularity-inducing decisions. And we can click the button, A Tale of 4 Cities. Basically, that's going to, once again, give us an increased commerce value for the next 20 years. Go ahead and accept that offer, trade away some grain. Let's look at the next mission we can go for. We're going for the Emporium of Tripoli. Alright, well, we've already started to increase our relations here. We are close-ish. We're probably a couple months, maybe. I'll go ahead and send a gift to him. So we're a little ways away from being able to integrate them. Give it a few months, though, and we'll be fine. I could start. Seems like the Senate is divided over this. Let's actually get a better look. So, of the populist faction, only one of them is willing to do it. So their support is at 8.75%. So if I have this right, basically they have 12 people in the Senate. 8.56% of 12. Let's double check that. How many people do they have in the Senate? They have 20 people in the Senate. Okay, that's a little different. Alrighty then. So then they have 20 people in the Senate. Ooh, but if my ruler was a friend of the faction leader, they'd be more likely to support me. If my ruler had high popularity, they'd be more likely to support me. If my ruler just had a friend in the faction with at least 80 prominence, they'd be more likely to support me. Interesting. You are going to go for me all the way because I'm the faction leader, which helps me. Meanwhile, the mercantile faction doesn't seem to be willing to help. If I push this through against the better judgment of some of the other faction members, I would get plus 9.1 loyalty for all of those characters. Ah, awesome. We're going to get 150 gold. That's great. We also have another trade route. Let's go ahead and handle that. I can grab more leather, or I think I'm going to go ahead and get the livestock, just because eventually I will grab another thing of livestock, and that will help me with my pop promotion speed in Carthage. And let's go ahead and go with Omen Power. Alright, so back to not the intervening war. Also, if I were to push this through, then the Senate will gain seats because of what I did. Okay. Interesting. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how we are getting these numbers. So support for the religious faction increases by 1.37 each month. So as long as I have that higher than the populist faction, then I should never be outnumbered in the Senate by the populist faction, right? Unless I take a bunch of decisions that are outright favorable for the populace. I don't really love the fact that how they've gotten back up to 20 so quickly. When they just had 12 not too long ago, I wonder if it was because I tried to push something through. Do you like me yet? Yeah, you do. So we're going to go ahead and press the start integration button just because I want to complete that mission. This is going to help me in both the civic faction as well as the religious faction and not hurt me anywhere else. But, honestly, I'm going to get 5 Senate seats to the religious, 5 Senate seats to the civic faction, which basically means that I add 10 more seats to the Senate, which means someone's got to be losing those seats. Let's go ahead, hit the button that says Start Integration. And now let's come back to government, and yeah, so it took some seats away from other people and gave them to you two. Alright. As far as who is going to be the next ruler, even though you have more people in the Senate, it still seems that our next candidate will be of the mercantile faction, because you have 47 secession support, because you have 3 people from the civic faction. It seems that that is partially due to just the prominence of the character, also the family prestige, as well as... Wait, family prestige? Is that family prestige of this person? Well, they made family prestige do something. I'm just not really sure what. All of the mercantile faction will vote for you. Good for you. Alright, popular vote. Alright, some politicians simply can't avoid consorting with the common folk. The ringleader of this rabble, however, Tadmint Barca, who... Oh, you! Hey, I don't love you anyway. Brings an interesting deal to the table. In return for support of many of the deplorable populist faction, he would demand that we close an important route to our capital, thereby providing the local people with greater control over their own affairs. So we would lose a capital import route. Well, I don't really want to do that. I'm going to say outrageous. He's not going to like me a little bit. I wonder how that affects all these numbers. Alright, so it doesn't look like you, and maybe that's because you were just the suffate, but it doesn't look like you were in contention for this election, even though we have some decent populist faction support. Our election will be held in just a few months. It looks like the man from the mercantile faction, Carthalalo Barca, is definitely going to be the man in charge. It actually appears that we're going to have 2 Barcas in charge. Talk about increasing familial prestige, right? Having 2 of your family members be the 2 leaders of the country. That's quite a big deal, I think. We have an... Alright, so our new council has been elected. We have an unpopular council, consul, or really they're called suffates for Carthage. Don't really want to go with the increased tyranny. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do primary culture happiness down. So, because the mercantile faction is now in charge, we gained the 10% commerce income, which is great. And we unfortunately did have a stability drop. Let's take a look at what that means for us. We're now making a ton of money from commerce, which is awesome. And let's look at who is looking to be in charge next. So, interesting. It seems to think that Mountain, whatever, the Gisgo man is going to be the next candidate, and with Himilco Barca being second. So if I want to keep you, Ishmago, he's the head of the Gisgoid family, and he is likely to be the next suffate and the rival of one of our generals. Oh. So if I want him to be the next man, I would I would make him more popular as well as prominent. Interesting. Alright, so we're just going to keep going with that. We do need a new tribune of the treasury. Don't really want to put you in charge. I don't have any Scorn family members at the moment. This man has decent statesmanship. He's just a minor character. I don't necessarily know what he used to do. He's in the religious faction. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with you. I like keeping the mercantile faction in power. And let's see, do I want to go ahead and grab another invention? No, I think I'm going to wait and see what my next batch of inventions are because I'm almost done with the first round of techs. I also am almost have enough military experience. I'm just holding off on creating more troops until I get a little bit more military experience. I will go ahead and grab another import route. I think that is a good idea to do. And I should think about maybe building some more libraries in some of my smaller cities. I'll go ahead and build a library there as well. So we're coming through. We have a new omen. We're making progress. I think I'm going to keep going with national citizen output for now. I should also... Ooh, we're starting to get some advancements. Religious advancement. Ooh, pop conversion speed. That's good, especially since I am trying to convert some pops, I believe. Let's specifically look at the religion map mode. Yeah, so I have a lot of megalithic pops that I need to deal with. So actually, I might go ahead and switch you to religious conversion. And you're already on culture conversion. You're doing some good, but it might be time. I get more bonuses from that omen power if I convert the religion, so it might be worthwhile to just start converting some religious pops. I do have enough military experience to grab a military tradition. Let's go ahead and look at what we can get. Part of me wants to travel down the line of the Phoenician heritage line and grab a lot of resources or a lot of traditions that really help me with my navy. However, I think it might be better. Ooh, I really want those War Elephant ones. War Elephant maintenance cost down, as well as War Elephant offense up. That could be good. Also, well, I don't really care about tribesmen. I think I'm actually going to go with the cavalry line. I know that currently I don't even have any cavalry. Or, you know what? Light infantry defense is good, I guess. Go ahead and just accept some of these. We have a new martial advance. Perfect. I'll go ahead and probably grab some of those inventions now. I definitely am going to want the siege ability, plus 5%. And that's all the money I have for now. I'll probably go ahead and grab that pop conversion speed next. I should have probably done that first while I had the money for it. I mean, Carthage historically relied on a lot of mercenaries, so I could go down the mercenary line. It also helps me have cheaper armies with heavy infantry and elephants later, which is going to be fun. And at the end of the line, I could get minus 25% maintenance on mercenaries. Mercenaries, I believe, you know, when you're Carthage and you have such a high manpower, mercenaries are really just... You know, they're not necessarily needed, though. So, I honestly think maybe all of these cavalry bonuses would be the best. I also really like that army attrition minus 15%. Yeah, so I'm actually going to go down the route of the Carthaginian cavalry. Which means I need to start building some cavalry, don't I? Let's do that now. I'm just going to start out with 5 scouts in each of these armies. Just to get us rolling on the cavalry front. We will eventually, of course, have much larger and grander armies. But for now, that is going to be where we finish for today. We haven't necessarily expanded much, but we have completed a couple more missions. Remember, that is what our main goal is in this playthrough. We are trying to follow some of these missions to see what happens. And eventually, of course, we're going to try to smash Rome. I hope you're having a great day. I certainly am. I hope that if you enjoyed this video, you will go ahead and hit that like button. I know that I spent a lot of time just kind of questioning things and trying to figure some things out. I'm learning a lot. I hope that through watching this, that you're learning a little bit too. If you kind of know some of the things that I'm struggling to figure out, for instance, exactly how the whole factions in the Senate mechanics work, go ahead, hit me up in the comments. Give me some sources to turn to that seem to be helpful for you in your playthroughs. In the meantime, we are seeing Rome begin to grow, so that is exciting. And yeah, so that's where I'm going to end it for today. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you on the next one.